I used to think that I was in control of my life. I was in control of my happiness. I often thought I was in control of everything. And it became apparent to me that I'm not in control. When Michelle first told me, after our friends invited us to their church, I honestly thought, all right, good for you, but I'm not going. I thought she'll get some satisfaction out of this and some completeness to her life, but it's not for me. I had better things to do on Sundays. I remember it was a very nice warm day in June.
A freak accident happened during a routine training exercise north of Barrie.
We begin this hour with breaking news from north of Toronto. An OPP officer has been injured after a crash involving his motorcycle.
My job as a police officer was a dream come true.
Tucker, a member of the Golden Helmets motorcycle precision team, was riding his bike alongside 14 others, taking part in a VIP escort training exercise.
I answered the phone and she said to me, "Mom, there are 2 police officers on their way to your work." And I said, oh, and I hung up the phone. And I thought to myself, this is it.
As he was traveling on Highway 11 southbound here, he was struck by a goose.
We were all on police Harley Davidsons. We were probably doing 120. We were doing it for real. So I was moving.
I can tell you, he is a Highway Safety Division officer. He is an experienced officer.
The goose knocked me unconscious, and the centrifugal force of the motorcycle kept me upright. And the other riders in the group immediately rode up beside me.
Today, one of those exercises left a veteran police officer with horrendous injuries.
They yelled at me and yelled at me, trying to get me to wake up.
OPP Officer Pete Tucker was airlifted to Sunnybrook Health Sciences Center late this morning. His injuries described as life-altering.
I flew through the air 29 meters past the bike. When they found me, I was so covered in blood that they had to wipe off the name tag on my chest.
About halfway there, all of a sudden, all these motorcycle officers started to come and clear the traffic and close the highway basically so that we could get through.
By noon, a real motorcade. This one rushing the injured officer's wife to the hospital.
I was just thinking, okay, they're just trying to get me there in time to say goodbye. He actually had 6 surgeries in about 10 days. And I would tell him every day, I would tell him the story about what happened. And Pete, you've been in an accident. You're at Sunnybrook Hospital. You were hit by a goose. You flew over the guardrail. And I would tell him every part except that he lost his leg.
I remember waking up in the bed in Sunnybrook Hospital thinking that something terrible has happened. After realizing my leg was gone, I didn't look more out of denial than anything. I did know, I just didn't want to accept it. And I felt like a part of me had died. I seriously questioned over and over, why? How did this happen to me? The first day that I got my prosthetic leg and I was going to walk on it, I don't think I was prepared, and I don't think anybody can prepare themselves for that.
That morning, he was very nervous about the fact that he was going to be walking for the first time.
So you gonna walk today?
Yeah, I'm gonna walk today.
I spent 2 months at Shaver Hospital, and every morning, every single morning, they did the Lord's Prayer over the PA system. Saying the Lord's Prayer by myself was my 1 minute of escape. It was my 1 minute of peace.
Welcome home. Welcome home.
I'm glad I don't have to sleep there anymore.
The first time I was given a day pass, and I specifically chose a Sunday because I really, really wanted to get back to Central. I had to sit in the front row because I was in a wheelchair. And then the music started, and I remember closing my eyes and just listening to the music like I've never listened to it before. I used to tell Michelle, listening to the music at Central for those first few minutes would let me escape everything. God is part of my life now that I never had as a child or a young man. Sometimes I don't want to get up. Sometimes I'm like anybody else. I don't want to get up and start my day. I don't want to put my leg on. I don't want to struggle to the closet and get my clothes. But every day I have a hope and a prayer that it's going to be a good day.
I witnessed a number of miracles in our life. I was able to see how many times he almost died and how many times he didn't.
I absolutely believe I was given a second chance. God saved my life that day by having the helicopter there, by having my friends there, by having a tourniquet there. I used to think that I was in control of my life, I was in control of my happiness. I often thought I was in control of everything, and it became apparent to me that I'm not in control. In your times of greatest need, God doesn't abandon you, He carries you.